Orgies, drugs, and ballots. Oh my. But the issue is electability. And my question is, does Madison Cawthorn's blatant, exaggerated media stunt help his reelection?
Political revolution of the millennials.
Welcome to Political Playlist.
All right, are we ready, guys?
Happy Hour.
Happy hour.
We fucked that up so bad.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Political Playlist Happy Hour. I'm Michael Kristoff.
I'm Anna Muskie-Goldwyn.
And I'm Anthony Barquette.
And we are getting a little NC-17 with this episode because we are talking about what was a very controversial and now likely exaggerated statement by the young buck from North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn, of course. Anthony, do you want to kind of set the stage here? What is setting the GOP ablaze right now?
I'm a little nervous to set the stage because it involves drugs, orgies, 70-year-olds.
Things that people know nothing about.
Yes,
well, on
absolutely.
that note, cheers. I mean, sign me up.
Yeah.
Wow. Who knew DC was just like Hollywood?
My question is, does Madison Cawthorn's blatant, exaggerated media stunt help his reelection? Let's face it, though. Politicians and this sort of behavior is nothing new. I think having someone call it out like Madison himself was interesting because it's coming from the Republican side.
Madison Cawthorn of North Carolina. And he was on a podcast and he was asked, is the Netflix show House of Cards realistic? And in his answering of that, he went on to say that the show's depiction of sex and drugs in DC is very accurate, that he has been propositioned to come to various orgy parties with colleagues. He has been offered, quote, key bumps of cocaine by colleagues. Kevin McCarthy had a sit down with him, and it turns out that many of his comments were completely exaggerated and false.
So, I mean, one, to come out with a quote like this on this podcast, he literally put the GOP in like a
frenzy.
Yeah, it's been on every major media news source. Michael mentioned Kevin McCarthy had a sit down with him. He came out and he vowed to discipline him. Yet to see if he's going to discipline him. But what I think was funny is, man, I wish I could be a fly on this wall.
You mentioned something that I found interesting, which is like he was mentioning all these blogs and everyone in the news is talking about it. And I think this goes to your question of, is like, we know Madison, right? Maddie Cowabunga. He loves, whether you like him or whatever, I feel like one thing everyone can agree on is like, he's very good at getting attention. And I think we see a brand of Republican politician and Democratic politician that are very good at getting attention. And so I guess I wonder, like, you know, that guy from Arkansas, maybe a woman, I don't know. Maybe their constituents don't think this is like a savory thing, but maybe could, even if he is being punished, like, does this help him because it gets his name out there, you know?
Well, I just think what's so funny about of all the issues that their caucus or, you know, their group is talking about during this is this one.
Right.
And
this is the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back.
And for once, the Democrats are sitting back going, I'm not touching this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who were probably,
they shouldn't.
And let's face it, they were probably at that event as well.
I mean, the Democrats are definitely
we don't want our
parties
parties canceled,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're like, oh, for once we can sit back and enjoy this moment of the Republican Party talking about something.
Yeah.
But one thing I did love was I read another quote from a Republican congressman from Arizona. He's not on our platform, but he's like, I've been here for a decade. And beside the fact that we're just cruel to each other, at many levels, it's one of the most boring places. Truly, it's one of the most boring places you can imagine. So then I looked him up and I was like, yo, dude, you're not getting invited to any orgy. So you're that guy in the corner. Yeah.
But
I think it's so interesting that the media has chosen to absolutely pounce on this quote.
Yeah.
Like it
of course,
is a lion
it has
going
the word
after
orgy in it.
A zebra. Right. It's like I think it's very sad that this is the thing that he's making news for. And I guess my question is this a play to what is clearly going to be the cultural issues that drive the Republican Party through their midterm elections and likely into 2024? Is this Madison's, albeit half-baked way of entering that conversation?
Well, what I find so
That's a good
interesting about
point.
the comment is like what I feel like he was trying to make himself come across as was someone who was very pure, right?
Yeah.
That like he would never go to this sexual gathering or whatever.
Right,
And like he
right.
would never take the
Especially
key
with
bump. And we're not
70-year-olds.
here to judge whether he would or wouldn't, but
But
what
I think the arm sleeve tattoo maybe indicates he would consider. Yeah.
But
Just
I think
saying.
that
Just saying.
I think that the thing that I find really interesting about this is that, I feel like Republicans have kind of positioned themselves to be on the quote unquote like moral high horse, right? That it's about, they're talking about sex education, like with the bill in Florida, right? That
Yeah.
that's like a real
Don't say orgy.
don't say orgy. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that should have been our title. God damn.
Oh, that would have been good.
But I think what he is doing, his intention feels to be in line with that, right? To say like, I'm playing for the team that is not promoting sexual deviance or is not promoting like over sexualizing or dangerous things, which I think they want to position the Democrats as being the party who's doing that. But I think in a weird way, it kind of is doing the opposite, where it's making him seem sort of crass and a little bit like inappropriate, frankly.
Well, I think especially him calling out his own party here.
Yeah.
Right. Where I agree with that, Anna. And I think he's also trying to maybe separate himself from the
rhinos, whatever.
Immediately you think of three people who are there.
Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, I was
Right.
going to say Lindsey Graham.
He was
Like, y'all won't
hosting
do a
it.
key bump?
Yeah. Wow. That would be.
He just turned into that. Who's that guy? That actor?
Leslie Jordan.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh my God. Okay, wait, but back to your question about basically electability, right? Like, what does this mean for him? I think that something that's interesting that I read was, you mentioned
Can you
the end
read
of this meeting
with your sling?
It's taken a toll on all of my senses.
Yeah. And all of us.
I'm
and
half
all of us.
blind.
Yeah.
I'm half
We're
blind.
Michael and I are
Barely
hurting more, to be honest. To that point about electability.
Yeah.
What's interesting is someone on our platform commented about this, Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, what did he say?
Well, and he goes, it does paint the picture here that isn't accurate, but he says, name names. Let's see who he hangs out with.
Right.
I don't know what to make of it anymore. And I'm kind of exhausted about it.
Well, that's exhaustion is, I think, the thing that is going to work against Madison in this, because I just feel like, within the politicians in his party, because it's like people got better shit to worry about than figuring out what to do about this 26-year-old who's talking about drugs and orgies in Washington. Like, even if it is true, right?
Well,
it's like,
it's not.
What are you? Right. But like, okay, it's
Mhm.
not true. But I think that what I'm trying to say is like, it is a distraction from their message.
Mhm.
And I think that is like what Kevin McCarthy is finally taking a stand on, because if you think about all the other times that politicians have done something outrageous, right?
Mhm.
But I think that the reason he draws the line on this is because it shows that his members of his party are out of line. And I think B, it's not on message. Like, in a weird way,
Right.
the thing about AOC was kind of on message,
Yeah.
right? Like, it was really about
Yeah.
take down the progressives, expose them, whatever. This
is going
so-
after
it's
Republicans.
but also it's just so out of
Right.
left field. Like, it has nothing to do with policy. It has, by the way, it's not helping anyone trust any politicians, which obviously they all struggle with. And I think whether you're Pelosi or you're McCarthy, you have a duty to try to build that trust.
The reporting is that Kevin McCarthy sat down with Madison, and it was a very tense meeting. And Madison basically walked back everything he said up to and including the key bump line was, quote, maybe a staffer 100 yards away in a parking garage. So
What?
the idea, So the
God.
idea is that Madison Cawthorn is clearly falsifying
Lying.
this whole tale. And so it's not a question of like, well, does this go on?
So
That's
that
kind of a moot point.
that makes it worse.
Totally,
to
I agree
me.
with you, Michael.
Yeah.
And,
It's now about why is Madison saying?
Yes. Why do you
that
think
he
he's
has
saying
been
it?
yeah.
That's the question I'm so interested in is like, why would you say this? Does he say it because he thinks it makes him sound cool? Does it make him sound like a savior? I'm just
Glad you caught that, Michael.
interested in how this is going to affect him. But I think that's
I do
sorry,
want to
go
go back to a point you made, Anna, about trust. Kevin McCarthy said, Madison, now we have a trust issue and you have to earn my trust back. It's sort of ironic that if he was after trying to get trust or trying to earn trust from the base or constituents or across the aisle, it seems that now he's almost had the opposite effect because people like Kevin McCarthy are now openly saying, I don't trust you now, Madison.
Mhm.
You have to earn that back.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like that, I feel like, is where we can look at this and say Democrats and Republicans in that sense have the same mission,
Right.
which is to create a public persona of their party that feels trustworthy and respected by the people who they want to vote for them.
Right.
And I feel like the reason that this is a big deal, because the comment itself is stupid.
Right.
It's stupid. It's dumb. If people are doing it, I don't care. Maybe some people do, whatever. But like the implications of it get at the heart of what both parties are struggling with. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because wow, you just pulled a like full mom card where I thought you were like talking, what you did was stupid. And now think about the implications.
You got like a glimpse into what I'll be
Sorry,
like as a mom.
We won't go to orgies again.
Yeah.
Promise.
I don't
promise.
care. Like this
God
is
bless
me,
Anna's kids.
This is me as a mother. I don't care if you go to orgies. I don't care if you do a key
Just be
bump.
safe.
But-
Use your head. Be
But just don't
mindful.
talk about it. That's
Yeah.
stupid. Don't
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.